If you've ever felt like you were the only one struggling with your dog, or like there was no safe place to ask questions or for help in general, then this episode is for you. Welcome to Straight Up Dog Talk. I'm Em, and if you're new here, this is our first solo episode of Straight Up Dog Talk. It feels a little surreal to be doing this. I feel so awkward, and I don't know. I guess I never thought that the podcast would get to this point, but here we are. And these episodes are going to be a little bit different. This podcast didn't start in the middle of a mess. It began when I started finding my way out of it, after I made hard decisions, after I worked through Fitz's reactivity, and most definitely after I realized that nobody should ever have to do this alone. I created this space because I couldn't find it when I needed it. I needed somewhere safe, honest, and judgment-free, especially for people who had dogs with big feelings. So I built it. I started this podcast because I wanted to share my learning journey with you. And so far up to this point, we've done that. I learn from every single episode that we have a guest. I learn something new. I learn something that helps me in a way that I couldn't have imagined, or I see something through a new lens that triggers a new idea that helps me when I'm working with my clients. And it's been really inspiring. And don't worry, those episodes are not going to stop. They'll still be every week. And maybe the solo episodes will get there too. Plus, if we continue down this path and we start the RV journey soon, there'll be even more fun content. For the past year and a half, the podcast has been a place for powerful conversations with trainers, with nutrition experts, with grief counselors, you name it. We've had the best guests, and we will continue to have the best guests. But today we're adding something new. Just you and me, straight up real talk. In July of 2019, I made a decision that I thought would help Fitz, who you all know as my big feeling, reactive, sometimes even easily overwhelmed dog. That summer, July of 2019, I decided to move in with someone that I shouldn't have, all so that Fitz could have a yard. We had stopped going to dog parks because of his reactivity. I thought more space and time to play in the yard would be helpful. Wear him out, get some of that energy out, and hopefully help him not be so reactive. It would be much quieter. There wouldn't be people walking up and down the hallways of the apartment, slamming doors, coming in and out late at night, other dogs, cats, all of the things, right? People having parties, music, just constant things for him to trigger, stack, and bark at. And you're going to learn really quickly here that it wasn't. In a way, it helped because in my journey with Fitz, this is the time where I became severely uncomfortable with the e-collar and feeling like his active listening was only active because it had to be. He wasn't listening because he wanted to. He was listening because he had to. And that didn't sit right with me. Moving to a house gave me the ability to give him a little bit more freedom, to not have to correct him when the neighbor's dog was barking and then he was barking, or the neighbor's door slammed and he was barking. Being in the house gave me the opportunity to give him a yard, to take him outside and play. But I was learning very quickly that the amount of play didn't help. Not all of the time. Because he just wouldn't quit. He just kept going. And then he would get silly and his tongue would be lolling all over the place. And he would just keep running himself into the ground every night. I had a dog that didn't know how to settle, and I didn't realize it. So it opened up a whole different can of worms in the experience with Fitz, because I learned what I thought he needed wasn't the full picture. And this is where all of the light bulb moments started to happen. The other problem was that the environment itself was harmful. My partner at the time was an alcoholic. And due to complications, like a land hurricane that happened here in Cedar Rapids, there was a housing shortage. And for a while, even after our relationship ended, there wasn't anywhere for me to go. The situation became volatile and dangerous for both me and the dogs. And by the end of me getting out of that household, I was locking myself in the bedroom every single night at 8 o'clock. It was scary and it really sucked. The day that I was finally able to move out, a bunch of my friends came over, and it was like all of my friends and their SUVs and their minivans just like descended on my household. And to make things even worse and even more embarrassing, he had gotten so drunk the night before that he was literally passed out in the middle of the floor. And my friends were legitimately stepping over him while we were carrying boxes out of the house. It was really sad, but it was also a little bit validating because I hadn't shown anyone what was happening. People were shocked to find out that he had a drinking problem and that things had been so bad for so long, because I was afraid to talk about it. I was afraid to tell people that I was in this bad situation, and I was afraid to ask for help. Looking back, I realized that that move hurt us more than I thought it did. Even though I know I made that choice from a place of love, I also know that I made it from a place of fear and desperation. And I know that some of you listening and watching have done something similar. You made a hard, necessary call to do right by your dog. This podcast, it wasn't created from perfection in any way, shape, or form. It was created from pain and healing. I wasn't able to find a space that felt safe. So I built it for you, because nobody should have to go through what I went through. Not by themselves, not in a toxic relationship, not with a dog that they don't understand, not crying behind a locked door every night at 8 p.m. And in this space, you won't be judged. You won't be told that your dog is broken. I'm not going to push quick fixes. You will always be met with honesty, grace, and options, because that is what you deserve. I want these solo episodes to feel like you're sitting on my porch or in my living room or in my backyard and having a conversation with a close friend, with someone who has been there, and with someone who can help you see you, yourself, and your dog with more compassion. I'm going to tell stories from my own life, and with permission from my clients' lives. We'll talk about things like what to do when your dog's reactivity makes you feel embarrassed, how to create calm without a daily walk in your life, why your relationship with your dog matters more than the number of cues that they can complete, what nobody tells you about healing, connection, and play. And of course, the real life, muddy paw, porch life, 2 a.m. voice note, full-on version of dog life. I'm sure that sometimes we'll laugh and sometimes we'll cry. But that is the joy of loving a dog. That is the joy of life and healing and growing together. You have to be able to laugh and cry our way through it. And starting on July 23rd, all of our guest interviews will be in video format also. And I'm so excited to take that next step with the podcast and you. I hope that this space makes you feel like somebody sees you, that you're not the only one who's Googled what's wrong with my dog while sobbing at 2 a.m. because you can't sleep and you don't know what to do, and that you can 100% start again without shame. If this resonated with you, share it with a fellow dog lover who needs a little bit more compassion. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite platform so you don't miss any of the new stuff that's coming. Trust me, you won't want to. And if you want to connect on a deeper level, you can use the show notes to schedule a free consult to train with me. I'm so glad we're doing this. And thanks for being here and for showing up for your dog, even when it's hard. We'll see you next time on Straight Up Dog Talk.